Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. So today's reading is going to be a 3-month reading, and we're basically looking at what is coming up for you in the next 3 months. So I've actually pre-shuffled the cards today, just thought that we would mix it up a little bit because I usually shuffle on screen, but I thought this would be nice. Should hopefully lead to a slightly quicker reading as well for those of you that don't always have time to watch the longer videos. Hopefully this one will be a little bit more succinct and maybe more of a reading that you can easily watch on your lunch break perhaps. So let's take a look at the piles that we have today. So 3 piles as always, and as I said, I've pre-shuffled the cards and shuffled out these 3 cards to go on top, which might, entice you to pick a certain pile. They have all been shuffled, not chosen, so they may have some meaning for your reading, they may not. Just be guided by your intuition in terms of which one you're most drawn to. So let's take a closer look at them. But before we do, I just want to say thank you to all of my lovely subscribers, all of my supporters, and all of my patrons as well, including the lovely Kelly, who is a longtime supporter of my work and of this channel. Thank you so much to you. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already, if you enjoy the work I do. So, your first pile has Die Finanzberaterin, the financial advisor, this pile of gold. I'm using the same decks for each pile, so there's no different tarot deck to choose like there normally would be. So group 1, Die Finanzberaterin, financial advisor. Group 2 has Die Meerjungfrau, the mermaid. I really love this deck. Picked it up in Vienna couple of months ago. So die Meerjungfrau and the mermaid, and then here, group 3, you have der Diener, the servant. Okay, so those are your piles, and as I said, this is for your next 3 months, just what is coming towards you, what can you expect. Take as much time as you need to choose. Let me just refocus the camera. Sorry about that. Take as much time as you need to choose. You might want to pause the video just so you can focus in on the cards a bit more, or even go back to the start of the video if you want to see the close-ups again. And choose with your intuition. It's fine if you choose more than one pile if you're feeling drawn to both, in which case watch both. There might be a few messages for you in each, or you might find that one is majority you're reading and the other one just kind of tops it up with a few extra messages. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Let anything that doesn't seem to be your message go with love. That is clearly for someone else. And yeah, let's have fun with this one. Hope you will enjoy it. Hi there, group 1. Welcome to your reading for those of you who chose Die Finanzberaterin, the financial advisor. This is going to be your reading for the next 3 months. So this card in itself might indicate that you are trying to take control of your finances better. Maybe you are saving, or like just in general, or you have a particular goal that you're saving for, or maybe you're trying to start or increase an investment of some kind, investment account perhaps, investing in property possibly. Some of you just looking to cut back on spending. Some of you, this is a broader thing about wanting to earn more. Maybe you're looking for a new job, or you are trying to put everything you can into your career to excel over the next 3 months in the hope that that will give you a raise or possibly a promotion, or depending on the kind of work you do, maybe a bigger bonus or bigger commission package. So really, really interesting there. Let's look at your cards. As I said, they're pre-shuffled, so hopefully this reading will be a little bit quicker for those of you that don't always have time for the longer types of reading. So we've got the inner child cards as the tarot deck today, because I really love this deck. So you have Guide of Crystals, which is the Queen of Pentacles. It's Father Christmas here. Really lovely. And Queen of Pentacles fits well with this card about finances. You have 9 of Crystals as well, 9 of Pentacles. Sweet little gnomes getting ready for Christmas. This gnome is also pregnant as well, so some of you may be looking to conceive, some of you might be pregnant or expecting a child within your family or social circle. over the next 3 months. You have the loving man, number 5. Strange Valentine, love is strange, number 27. Interesting. What else do we have? Metamorphosis, 25. And then from the same deck, Commitment, 36. Yeah, this is something I forgot to mention. Your group got the most number of cards because I was pulling, just looking for like a couple of tarot cards and then like one card from each oracle deck, but you ended up having repeated cards in each, well, not each, but in a lot of the oracle decks, so the other groups didn't get that. First quarter moon in Leo, be humble. Last quarter moon in Scorpio, reveal what needs to be seen. Arnica, recovery. Interesting. Then you have the Scythe, number 10. Chiron. Just focus on that a bit more. There we go. Then develop your skills and walk away from vicious cycles. Let me put these down here. Interesting. Okay, so group 1, we are going to be doing charms and dice like we normally do, so don't worry if you love those and are worried that I'm gonna miss them out in your reading. We're just gonna look at the cards first like usual, and then I'll add those on top. So what do I see in your next 3 months? So I think finances and health seem to be quite big themes. You know, you have Pentacles cards, which refer to anything physical, so it's often interpreted as something like money, career, like something that brings in that kind of tangible reward, or it can be your home, like that kind of physical thing, but it's also to do with health as well. And you also obviously have recovery and the Scythe, which is Chiron. Chiron is the asteroid of healing. So some of you have been through a difficult time health-wise, and this doesn't just mean physical health, it can mean mental health as well, emotional health, if you've been struggling with stress or trauma, perhaps, detachment. Some of you, I think, maybe been a little bit... disillusioned isn't quite the right word. I actually get the feeling that maybe just one of you or a couple of you have been feeling very detached from your whole life, like sort of just going through the motions every day, not really feeling anything, and that's kind of been quite scary for some of you. So this is a recovery period for those of you that have been experiencing anything health related that has been stressful or worrying. Injuries are healing. If you have any planned operations or anything coming up, then this is a positive sign. There's also a big theme here around love as well. So you have the loving man and strange Valentine. You also have commitment. So some of you are getting the opportunity to deepen a relationship with a potential romantic partner. This could be someone that you're just early stages with over the next few months, or it could be someone that's already present in your life, and this is possibly to do with recovering that relationship after a bumpy period, or maybe where you've been focused on other things, whether that's your health or your career, etc., or just haven't had the headspace to be present with this person. You know, I always find this kind of a little bit funny. Strange Valentine, love is strange. Possibly some of you have been questioning whether a particular person is the one for you. Maybe, and I think we all have these experiences where, you know, someone that you're seeing, they say something weird or they do something and it just makes you cringe or just makes you think, why on earth would you do that? And I feel like in a time of heightened tension and stress, that might lead you to feel like, oh no, have I picked the wrong person? Is this not the one for me? So possibly some of you have been stressed a little bit about that. But I feel as though even if this isn't like something you've already experienced, even if this is a future energy, like something that is coming up in the next 3 months, it feels like it does smooth out and that path just becomes easier for you. Like I'm actually seeing someone walking up a hill and then that hill just evening out to a flat path that's easy to walk. So That's a channeled message for some of you. I also like walk away from vicious cycles, because we can apply this to like any area of our life, whether it's love related, whether it's our health, whether it's our career, there's a real sense of just taking a deep breath that I'm getting from your reading, group 1. So it feels as though there's just more opportunity over the next 3 months for you to just breathe, take a step back, take stock of things. It feels like the pressure is just like a lessening. It feels like what's the word? Like it's loosening off, or it's just dissipating from your life. I really like metamorphosis as well, as sort of changing into something better. Reveal what needs to be seen, be humble. Oh, I should have said as well, zodiac signs that have come out in this reading are Leo, Scorpio, and then with the Guide of Crystals or Queen of Pentacles, you've also got Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So those are all present in your reading. Reveal what needs to be seen. Some of you are choosing to open up and really let someone in after a period of time where you haven't felt comfortable doing that. So what I mean by that is that, let's give an example. You have a romantic partner, someone you're dating, or someone that you are even married to, or, could be any level of the commitment journey, the commitment life cycle, so to speak. But it's like you haven't had headspace for them. You've been so focused on your own things, your own struggles, your own problems, that you haven't felt able to let them in, because it's almost like you've shut down and gone into survival mode, and like you just need to focus on yourself. It's just like I'm seeing a horse with blinkers on now, like they just can't see anything except what's dead ahead. So this is a time when you're feeling more able to open up and speak to someone. And I think possibly there might be occasions where that person's response isn't quite what you're expecting it to be, or perhaps not quite what you'd ideally like it to be. Maybe you kind of share something and you might like to have a big hug from them and have them tell you, oh my goodness, that's so awful, I'm sorry you've been through that. But instead, they're the kind of person who is offering like practical solutions instead, and you don't necessarily want that in the moment. Or maybe they just don't know what to say, and that just feels like, I've let you in. Why aren't you responding in the way that I want to? But I genuinely get the feeling that whoever this person is, they do care about you. And I feel like you're just perhaps quite different people, or you have different communication styles, perhaps different love languages. Maybe you have been through things in your life that this other person just can't even comprehend, because they've been relatively sheltered or relatively fortunate in comparison. And so they kind of don't really know what to say, because they just can't, it's not that they can't empathize, but that they just don't know what it must feel like to go through something like that. So I think some of you are working out those issues where you perhaps feel not necessarily unsupported, but just that someone doesn't quite respond in a way that feels befitting to the situation for you. This be humble is also nice. I think this is just a reminder that when things get stressful, we can all say or do things that we don't necessarily feel proud of looking back. And sometimes stress or health problems, whether they be mental or physical, they can really push us to the point where we're not behaving like we normally would. They push us to the point where our personality temporarily changes because of pain, or because of panic or fear or stress or whatever it might be. So you might be, just bear in mind that for some of you, you might be kind of seeing this person's response or actions through a certain filter, and then that filter drops off later in these 3 months, and you realize that you were perhaps unfairly judging that person, or weren't fully seeing the truth of the situation. So that's just a message for some of you, but I'm just seeing like a prism, like you're seeing something in a filtered through trauma, or filtered through the physical pain that you're going through, or stress, or whatever it might be. So that's a really interesting message. I also like develop your skills. So there's going to be an opportunity in the next 3 months for you to go up a level in something, or for you to maybe start focusing on something that you've maybe previously been involved in and had to give up, perhaps due to an injury, or just being so busy at work that you haven't had time or sort of headspace for it. Could even be something completely new, something that you are really interested in doing and you want to give it a try. So there's going to be an opportunity for you to learn something or build upon an existing skill or knowledge base in the next 3 months. So let's see what your charms and dice have to say now, and they'll hopefully give us some more information here. I'm going to pull from your charm tin. Lots and lots of charms, group 1. Okay, and I'll just look through these before I get your dice out. We'll see what they say. What have you got? Okay. Lovely. Okay, so you have passport, so possible travel coming up in the next 3 months, or maybe just booking a trip, maybe something you've been putting off for a long time because you've been so stressed or you've had health issues and haven't been able to think about the longer term. So yeah, possibly I think some of you getting a chance for a holiday that really gives you some space from work or from your daily problems, and it just gives you a breather and a fresh perspective. Like I'm going back to that feeling I've had throughout your reading of just like honestly just like a breath of fresh air or a sigh of relief is what I'm seeing your next 3 months kind of symbolized as. You have faith, trust and faith, have confidence in something. Beautiful big key. Keys are always a positive sign, always mean that you are opening new doors or you're unblocking a situation that has been stuck, or you are solving a problem of some kind. You have the hummingbird, love is in the air. So definitely a lot of romance, opportunity for romance in the next 3 months, and really appreciating someone that you feel like you've perhaps misjudged them in the past, or you have, maybe not given credit where credit was due, perhaps. A good friend as well. Quite a lot of nice sociable energy. Like it feels like taking the pressure off in the next 3 months, getting to focus a bit more on letting your hair down a bit, just relaxing, not always feeling like every day has to be productive or like every day you have to achieve something. Seeing the bigger picture. So yeah, especially given that this landed on the recovery card, this lovely giraffe, this definitely symbolizes that for many of you, something that has been holding you back from being able to plan for the long term or even like have the headspace to think about the longer term is being removed or is massively improving to the point where you're now able to think about that. So I'm really seeing that a lot of you have been struggling with health or injury or stress or mental health, and that is going to be hugely relieved. You're going to be relieved of that burden, group 1, over the next 3 months, which is really, really lovely. Interestingly, also, you have a gear landing on these 2 cards. So recovery and reveal what needs to be seen. Whenever I get the gear, it always points to something already being in progress. So if you're watching this and thinking, I'm not ill, does this mean that I'm going to break my leg or I'm going to have, some awful health problems? No, it doesn't, because for the ones that are watching this, for whom this is their message, you already know what this is. You already know what I'm referring to when I say health problems or injury or, illness, whatever it might be. That's already something that you're dealing with now or trying to recover from. So this is not something that is in the future, so to speak. And if that doesn't apply to you, it doesn't mean that this isn't your message. It just means that is for someone else, and the rest of the reading is what you need to focus on. So what else do we have? Hen. Little hen. This makes me think of like hen pecking. You might have felt like someone was nagging you or trying to push you in a direction that you didn't want to, or even like I'm hearing trying to push you at a time when you really didn't need to be pushed. So I think for some of you, this goes back to having a partner who is like that person that just always wants to fix things. So when you're upset, they try and give you practical solutions. You know, you're crying about something and they're like, that's awful, but have you thought about this? You know, what if you did this instead? Would that solve the problem? You know, etc. And it's not that they're not empathizing, but they are empathizing, but they're trying to fix the problem so that you're not going to be upset anymore. It's still the same kind of thing. I can be really guilty of this, by the way. I can be the person that's trying to be too practical, and people glare at me and say they just want to wallow. They don't necessarily want any solutions or suggestions. So I can definitely be guilty of this. It's not coming from a bad place. It is the opposite. It's this person trying to help, but it's like at a time when you just wanted like a shoulder to cry on, or someone to pat you on the back, or a time when you perhaps, like I'm seeing an athlete like bent over, like heavy breathing after running a sprint, and like someone coming up behind to offer a suggestion. And so the feeling that I'm getting is like you wanted to be cut some slack, or you wanted to just be allowed to be, to feel, to, you know, whatever. And someone was there saying, have you thought about this? Or next time, why don't you do it like this? And then you won't have this problem. And it's just like, why? Why are you pushing me like this? Or why are you nagging me? So that is a very strong message coming through for some of you. Also, you can take this as a zodiac sign, the lunar year of the rooster. Some of you might be born in the year of the rooster, or might recognize that as being a person in your reading who is important in the next 3 months. You also have 2 snowflakes. There's one there and one there. I use these as being symbolic of winter time. Now, this is a timeless reading, so, you know, you could be watching this during winter time, and it is currently winter in the southern hemisphere. But if you're watching this, for example, when I post and you're in the northern hemisphere and winter isn't going to be within the next 3 months, then this could refer to something that happened in the previous winter, like that's when this thing started, or maybe something is not going to be fully resolved until the winter, or maybe you're making plans for the coming winter. Maybe that's what this passport is about, like you're planning a trip that's going to take place in the winter time, but you're doing the planning and the booking in the next 3 months. Snowflake also makes me think of vulnerability, feeling sensitive, feeling a bit vulnerable, and I think that that definitely fits with a lot of what I've seen here of just being so burnt out, overwhelmed, touchy because of it. You have the hairdryer, so some of you looking to change your look a little bit, or treat yourself to some new clothes, or maybe like a beauty treatment. This also makes me think of blowing hot and cold, perhaps not being sure what you want to do, like swinging between one day you want this, one day you want that. The jade ball, so career and finances are really front and center as well. In a positive sense, I feel it's like you're really taking control of that. You're saying, you know, I'm finally going to save up the money to go on that holiday, or I'm going to finally save up the money to do this or that, or because I've been home with, you know, my injury for a couple of months, I've actually saved money because I haven't been going out places, and that means that I can put it towards this. And it's like you're trying to think of ways that you can best use your money or make your money work harder for you. You have the bat, which is symbolic of fear and the shadow self. Screwdriver, fixing something, making something more stable, making something stronger. That definitely seems to be the case with this relationship for some of you. Have lovely Caduceus, which is the symbol of Lord Hermes or Mercury. He is the Greco-Roman god of commerce and travel and anything to do with foreign cultures or lands or languages. He's a god of rhetoric and a god of shepherds and boundaries, god of so many different things. Some of that might resonate with you, some of it may not, but whenever we get a calling card of a particular god or goddess in a reading, it always shows that they are here for you, here to be a listening ear, to be a helping hand if you feel comfortable reaching out to them. So for some of you, Hermes or Mercury, however you refer to him, may be one of your patron gods, and you might already be well aware of that. And this is just a nice message to say, hey, I'm watching, I see what's happening for you, I'm here, this is your reading. For others, that might not be the case, and you might be curious to, start meditating or praying to Hermes and seeing what comes up. He's one of my patrons, actually, and there is just beyond the boundary of the mat here, there is a statue of him, so actually holding the Caduceus as well, so it's always funny when that pops out here. You have a wasp. This always makes me think of feeling like overwhelmed. Like when I see this, I think of like a swarm of insects and just feeling like so overwhelmed, so much happening at once. The Alice in Wonderland clock charm makes me think about worries around timing. Either you're worried that something won't happen in time, or you're worried that something is moving too quickly, there's too much that you've got to juggle all at once. And your final charm is the chair, which is about DIY, home decor, just the home in general as well. You could be spending a lot of time at home or wanting to improve the home for whatever reason. Maybe some of the money that you've been saving up is to do with getting new furnishings, or maybe even buying a house, redecorating the spare bedroom, or whatever it might be. Okay, let's round up with your dice. Okay, and we're rolling the 6th set of dice for you, which interestingly are the Voyager's dice. So I do think traveling is on the cards, so to speak, for some of you, Group 1. Very much on the cards. Okay, I've got your dice. How many dice are we rolling for Group 1 today, please? That's 0, so I'll roll again. 8. Lovely. Okay, Group 1, to finish up your reading, let's get this out. Interestingly, you got the gear again. Things that are already in progress, this being humble. Maybe you're already starting to realize that maybe some of the things you've said or done, or ways in which you've perhaps judged someone, haven't been that fair. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily ready to deal with that just yet, but I think maybe some of you are already feeling like, actually, I should turn to that person for help and stop ignoring them. Or, it wasn't right of me to be annoyed at that person because they weren't comforting me in the way I wanted, or whatever it might be. You have a crow. This is about omens, getting signs and symbols, noticing them. This is also a calling card of the goddess Meerjungfrau. She's the Celtic goddess of war and death and turbulence. So that's another god symbol, just like the Caduceus is, if you want to work with the Meerjungfrau. There's the cave, isolation, home, sanctuary, shelter. See a lot of you kind of getting almost too comfortable being at home, especially if you've been struggling with your health. I think this change of scenery will really be helpful for a lot of you in the next 3 months. The goblet or chalice makes me think of the Ace of Cups. New relationships, improved relationships, passions, going back to develop your skills, like picking up or starting things that you really enjoy. The whip, don't be too hard on yourself, honestly. I know we've spoken here about some things that you're maybe not proud of, but I don't think there's any point in like berating yourself for it. In all honesty, I really don't. Duality. I think that fits with the blowing hot and cold, and the being one person in one moment and then another person in the next moment, and kind of feeling like, how did I react that way, or why did that come out in a way that, doesn't necessarily reflect who I am. Finding the missing pieces, solving a puzzle, feeling whole again. This definitely is a nice symbol of recovery for those of you that really have been struggling. And you have the City of the Future. So this is about dreaming of your future, making future plans, especially very long-term plans, feeling like you're able to set goals again, feeling more confident and more able to focus on that kind of thing. So group one, I really think that there's a lot of change coming for you in the next 3 months, and a lot of it is coming from within in terms of your own perspective and your own approach to things. I think that there's some lovely people around you. In particular, there is a romantic partner or potential romantic partner who could do with some love, improved health, improved finances, and the chance to develop more in some particular skill or knowledge area. So I hope you enjoyed this group one. I tried to be a little bit more concise. I've definitely gone over the amount of time that I wanted to spend, but that's just me all over, isn't it? Cannot do a quick reading. I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I would really appreciate it if you let me know in the comments how this resonated. Would also love it if you could like, share, subscribe. All of that massively helps out my channel. And if you enjoy what you see, then that will ensure that you can stay on top of everything that I post. And yeah, hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Have a great 3 months ahead and take care. Bye bye. Hi there, group 2. Welcome to your reading for those of you who chose the Meerjungfrau, or the mermaid. This is going to be about your next 3 months. So if we just look at this card first, the mermaid, the Meerjungfrau, makes me think of creativity and emotions, and possibly also being drawn towards something, like the way that a mermaid singing kind of lures us towards where they are. What else does it make me think of? Perhaps, possibly kind of having 2 lives, or being split between 2 paths, or being very multi-talented. You know, so many mermaid stories kind of hinge around them coming to the surface world, or possibly even being able to walk on land. So it makes me think about being between 2 worlds, or being able to make the most of those two sides of yourself. So that's what I see with the mermaid. So let's look at your cards using the Inner Child cards as your tarot today, because I really love that deck. So as I said, it's all pre-shuffled. Let's see what we have. We're going to use your charms and dice as we normally do, but we'll look at your cards first as usual. And yeah, group 2, what is coming up in your next 3 months? So you have 5 of crystals, which is 5 of pentacles, a sweet little gnome there. If you're new, you can tell I love my gnomes. Lovely little gnomes here, Gismund, Gunvald, Gaia and Gjord. They really hold space for us to do our readings, and they're very happy to see you here. Ace of Swords, there's King Arthur pulling Excalibur out of the stone. Okay, so 5 of Pentacles, Ace of Swords. Let's look at your Oracle cards as well. I'll just turn them all over. So Amara the Menahune, Aloha Healing, number 19. Beautiful card. First quarter moon in Cancer, push through any insecurity. And that's interesting because I was actually thinking with Die Meerjungfrau, I was thinking of the water signs like Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Maybe you've picked this pile today for that reason. A creative endeavor, number 8. It's that creativity I was talking about. Compass, number 50. Okay, then we have chili pepper, ferocity. Wow, there's some fire as well. Ferocity. The moon. This is actually Cancer as well. Number 32, the moon. Let's try this. It's a beautiful card. And Neptune, number 6. Also rules a water sign, rules Pisces. And face your fears. Okay, so those are your cards. Sorry, I should have said that this is the clouds. I was looking at Neptune and number 6, but the actual name of the card is Clouds. Right. Okay. So group 2, before we do your charms and dice, let me just analyze your cards. So I feel as though in the next 3 months, you are going to be moving past something that makes you feel quite stressed or worried or anxious. And actually doing really well. It feels like there is a fresh start coming up for a lot of you in some area that is causing you anxiety. And for many of you, this is a creative situation. So you might have a creative side business, for example, and it hasn't been doing very well, or you've just started it and you're just worried that it was a bad idea or it's not going to do well, etc. This is a time when it feels like those fortunes are turning, okay? And I see you really pushing for this, like really like ferocity, really see you giving it everything you've got over the next 3 months to make this successful. Group 2, and it won't be a business situation for everyone. Some of you, it might be that you have been learning a particular discipline. It could be that you're learning how to paint, for example. You're really, really keen on it. You want to do well. You're pushing yourself to try new techniques. You're going to classes regularly. You are watching videos in your free time. You're going to art galleries to see different styles of painting. Like, you're really immersing yourself into it. And it doesn't have to be a creative thing necessarily. It could be a sport that you've just started or that you want to get better at, and you're pushing and pushing to get there. So I think group 2, you've possibly faced some criticism recently, or you might come up against some criticism or some, it's not backlash, but it's like some people who aren't supportive or people who just don't really get it. And that's going to make you feel a bit low, I think, group 2. I feel like 5 of Pentacles is kind of showing us, why am I doing this? Or other people don't seem to support me, or the tide is against me, kind of thing. But actually this is going to work out well for you. And by pursuing what feels right and by going after what is important for you, you're going to get some great results. I mean, Compass, this card is literally about aligning with your internal compass. So like doing what feels right, going on the path that is set out before you. And, aloha healing. Some of you spending a lot of time outdoors, some of you feeling really drawn to nature, possibly things like aromatherapy as well, because I'm getting like the scent of flowers or the scent of the ocean. It's going to be quite calming or even empowering for some of you while you're doing whatever it is. So, it's a bit hard to smell lovely things when you're exercising, perhaps, if it's a sport kind of situation, but maybe you can incorporate that into your relaxation point afterwards. Maybe you go for that run that is part of your training program, and then you come home and you relax with some aromatherapy, and the run is out in nature, and there you've kind of got those elements. Or maybe this is a work related thing and you're able to take some little thing into work with you. Like, I actually have it's like a little rollerball thing of aromatherapy. It's like a forest scent, and I kind of rub that either on my temples or on my wrists and just breathe in really deeply, or sometimes on my neck, and just sometimes go for like 3 deep breaths whilst breathing in this aromatherapy scent. And that can be really, really calming in a work context. And if you just want to take like a super quick screen break to let your eyes reset from whatever you've been staring at all day. And yeah, obviously creativity, you might be incorporating that into your creative endeavors. So if we take the painting angle, you might be going out with your easel and your palette and literally painting the natural world, or painting outside in your garden, or you might put on some lovely scented candle or wax melt or aromatherapy while you're doing your painting indoors. This is just me throwing out some suggestions, but I feel as though that is really quite important for some of you, is that natural world healing element. Okay, so just bear that in mind over the next 3 months, especially if you're starting to feel a bit stir crazy or a bit like stressed, panicked, detached from reality. Open the window, get some fresh air, Go for a walk if you can. If you have anything that smells nice that you can, like light a candle or something, really focus in on that lovely smell. Get yourself back to focusing on what you need to do. So bear that in mind, group 2, as you move forward in the next 3 months. There is a lot here about insecurity and worry. Like the moon refers to worries, things that are stressful, things that we have doubts about or feel insecure about. And the clouds, it's like anything that's not clear, anything that is obscure or uncertain or partially hidden from us, can represent obstacles as well. But Neptune, is the classic obfuscator. Like Neptune as a planet is all about our subconscious and dreams and symbolism, but also sort of relying on that too much, and it starts to literally cloud your vision. So it could even be things like other subconscious things like nostalgia. You might be so clouded in your perspective by things that happened a long, long time ago that you're possibly viewing with rose-tinted glasses. It's not necessarily something that was as good as you're remembering it, but just the longing to go back to that time is really coloring your current perspective. So just bear that in mind, group 2. So yeah, that's honestly what I really see. We're going to move on to your charms and then your dice, but I really feel as though in the next 3 months you are pushing for something to happen. You are going to get your results. You're going to have your breakthrough, your Excalibur moment. And what I love about this card, sorry, just to delay the charm slightly, what I love about this card is it's representing the Ace of Swords with Arthur pulling out the sword, because when Arthur pulls Excalibur out of the stone, he is proving to everyone that he is worthy of being king. That is the act that cements his authority. And it's like you're doing the same over the next 3 months, group 2. You might have had naysayers, you might have had haters, people that criticized, people that, felt threatened by you and wanted to bring you down, or saw you at a point when you were a bit vulnerable, a little bit insecure, a bit worried about yourself, and they took that opportunity to give you a good kick, not necessarily physically, but, a good emotional or verbal kick. And over the next 3 months, you are going to be proving just how wrong those people were. You are going to be proving that you are worthy, that you are capable, that you are incredible at what you do. You are determined, you are resilient, you are brave and strong and confident, group 2. This is really, really like empowering messages that I'm getting coming through for you. So let's look at your charms. We'll pull them from your charm tin and then we'll add your dice once I've looked at these. If you're enjoying this reading, don't forget to like or share or subscribe. It really makes a big difference to my channel. I'd love to have you as part of our lovely community here. Okay, interesting. You got 2 dragonflies right next to each other. One there and one there. These are fire elementals. So you have a water elemental in the mermaid that you chose, but also fire elementals here as well. So lots of elemental kind of hidden helpers, I reckon. And also I get gnomes are earth elementals as well. So lots of them, lots of elementals helping you in a way that you're not necessarily consciously noticing, but they are there. You have these hidden helpers. Dragonflies are also a good luck symbol. And you have the shooting star as well, a wish being granted, a dream coming true. That's amazing. Swallow, something or someone returning to you. I'm getting the sense that for some of you, you are picking something back up after a long time. So an example would be maybe you used to love dancing or running or something physical like that. And then say you've had a baby or you've had an injury of some kind, or you've just had a busy life and, a couple of years have gone by, you haven't done it. You're now a bit out of shape perhaps, or just out of practice. And you're wanting to get back into doing that. And there are people that are saying, oh, now you've got your baby, you should be focusing on just being a parent. Or now you've been promoted and you're more important at work, that's what your focus should be on. Or you shouldn't, or even people being nasty and saying like, oh, you could never do that again. Look at, how much weight you've put on, or look at how unfit you are now, or whatever it is. And you're really going to be proving them wrong, group 2. There's such a cathartic feeling that I'm actually getting for you, as in you're just really showing people you were wrong. I was right. Look at all this effort I've put in. Look at the incredible results that it's given me. Really wonderful. And I don't think this is the end for you either. I don't feel like you're achieving your ultimate goal in the next 3 months. I think you're still moving on, but it's the trajectory and the track record that you build up over these 3 months just proves how right you were in comparison to what everyone else was saying. This can also be about someone returning to you, maybe reconnecting with an old friend perhaps. Cookies, treat yourself. Look after yourself, little cookie jar. Especially if you're, doing a lot of exercise, or you're working long hours because you've got a side business as well as a full-time job. Let yourself have some fun. Schedule that downtime. Do those things that are fun. Don't, begrudge yourself that extra cookie or whatever it might be. Allow yourself to relax, because I feel like it's very easy to potentially get into the mindset of punishing yourself or just pushing yourself to your limits every single time because you are so determined to do well. But actually you can still get the same result, maybe slightly slower, but you can still get the same result if you allow yourself those little treats and those little rests and a bit of slack along the way. So just bear that in mind, group 2. You have the worry thread, symbolic of fear and worry and anxiety, and also the bone, determination, being so dogged in your pursuit of something, not wanting to let go. That phrase, like a dog with a bone, you're just so clear on what you want. I also like that you have the sheath here, the sheath that you keep a sword in. It's there's something you're keeping hidden for a while. There's something that you're keeping to yourself. Maybe you're not announcing your side business to your social circle for a while because you want to get to a point where you're slightly established and you have some regular clients, and before you let them in, because you know that some of them might be naysayers or might try and put you off it. So something here about you keeping something quiet or keeping it to yourself for a while. You have the elephant, memory. Definitely there is a situation for some of you involving nostalgia. Maybe some of you are reaching out to an old friend, and maybe you're keeping quiet about that because you don't want people to know, because maybe some people will be like, oh, you shouldn't bother with them. It was 20 years ago. They were from your childhood. Why would you care? Blah, blah, blah. And so maybe that's something that you're keeping quiet because you just know that you're just going to get unnecessary judgment that just really doesn't serve you. There's the peg, feeling like you've been hung out to dry. I really feel like some of you have thought that someone would be supportive, like friends, and then people, whoever it might be, it's like someone really left you high and dry, or someone really just wasn't there for you in the way that you expected them to be. Someone's let you down, and this is you proving to them that they were wrong. Group 2, hairdryer. Some of you are changing your style or treating yourself to some new clothes or a beauty treatment. This can also mean blowing hot and cold, like being unsure or unclear about what you want. I don't really feel like that's the case for you though, because you have so many messages here about being so determined, so dogged. Maybe there is just some points along the way where you feel insecure and you start to doubt yourself. But I think overall you are very, very one-track minded here, which is in a good way. Ice skate, maybe ice skating or ice hockey or something is connected to what you've been wanting to pick back up again. The ice skate also makes me think of skating on thin ice, where you feel as though there has to be a catch, or things have been going well for a while, so something has to go wrong soon. You start to fear or panic at your own success. Don't fall into that trap, group 2, because when you start to doubt your worth or start to be afraid of the idea of being successful, that just blocks your success from a manifesting point of view. So just catch yourself when you have those thoughts and just remind yourself that you completely deserve to be successful. You have this lovely Ganesha charm. So lovely Ganesha, Hindu god of wisdom and knowledge, but also a powerful remover of obstacles. He is showing up in your reading because he wants to help you move these obstacles out of your way. He wants to help you pull that sword from out of that stone so that you can use it, so it's not stuck in that static, blocked situation. I think this image is so important because it really symbolizes for many of you how you feel. Like, you know that you have this creative talent, but you're not putting it to good use yet because you haven't got that outlet for it, because you're scared, or because you just haven't had time for it until now, and now you want to do that. Or you know that you're good at a certain sport, and just because you're slightly out of shape or a bit unfit, or you a few years out of practice, it doesn't mean that you can't get back into it. Yes, it might be difficult, especially at first, but it's like this static state that you want to bring into activity, bring back to life. Really, really interesting, group 2. So you can call upon Ganesha for help if you feel comfortable doing so over the next 3 months. He will give you the wisdom that you need to make the right decisions. He will help to move obstacles from your path. Let's see which dice we're going to get for you now. Okay, number 8. Oh, number 8. They are the Adventure Time dice. Just grab those. Time for adventure. Okay, and we're rolling 8 for you. Lovely. Maybe 8 is important. We're in the 8th month of August when I'm filming, but could be the 8th of a month. 8th house, 8th sign, which is Scorpio. Eighth house is all about transformation and moving on from taboos. Okay, so you have, oh goodness, I'm forgetting what she's called. This little green elephant character in Adventure Time who is like a grandmother figure, and she's really kind and caring, but has actually like really surprising hidden ferocity when needed. So, it's like people are going to be surprised at how strong and feisty you are, and how much you're not going to let yourself be kicked down and stay down. People are going to be so surprised at the fact that you are like getting back up and really rising and thriving. You have Lady Rainicorn. She is the partner of one of the main characters. She's a flying unicorn in rainbow colors, and she only speaks Korean, and somehow her partner can understand her despite not speaking Korean. So she always makes me think about like being different, like communicating or expressing yourself in a way that other people maybe don't necessarily get, but they completely like, they're happy with it. Like they're happy for you to express yourself in that way. It also makes me think of obviously other languages, other cultures. Maybe some of you are learning a language, or you're sort of training in a style of dance or a style of cooking or something that is not from your native culture. And people are sort of like, why are you doing that? Like, why would you be interested? Or that's cultural appropriation, or whatever they might be saying. I think you're just saying, look, this is me showing appreciation for something that I'm really, really interested in. And I want to do it properly. So that's why I'm giving it my all. Donut, there's that other message of treating yourself, looking after yourself, taking care of yourself. I like this one as well, the person who has caught a bad guy and sort of tied them up. This is like you showing those people that, hey, I'm on top, You were wrong, I was right. You're the villain in this story, I'm the hero. Really love that. You have the Hall of Egress. This is featured in one of the episodes of Adventure Time where they are going into a cave and they can't get back out again. It's like every time they find the exit, they keep entering the cave again. It's like this weird, I guess, weird shift that forces them back in. And it's something to do with their perspective changing. Once they change perspective, they're able to finally exit. So this is like, you feel as though you're hitting a brick wall every time. I think some of you've maybe tried a few times recently, like over the last couple of years maybe, to get this thing off the ground, to restart whatever it was that you were doing, or to start it completely if this is a new thing. And every time it's like you've been foiled, or you haven't quite achieved what you've wanted. And now it's like something has just shifted inside you. Maybe it even was the criticism that led you to think differently, that led you to feel like, no, this is it now. This is the time. I'm going to do it this time. Something has shifted. You have the fist bump, celebration, trusting yourself, knowing that you can do well. This does also make me think that there is someone supporting you. You know, I know that we've said here that you're really showing someone that, you know, you're better than them, or they aren't right in this situation, or their lack of support for you was misguided. But I do feel as though there is someone supporting you, even if it's from a spiritual perspective, like Lord Ganesha, or perhaps a spirit guide or an ascended master, possibly. Really interesting. Marshmallow also kind of makes me think of a friend. Someone supportive. Kind of happy-go-lucky as well. And then you've got the Enchiridion, which is like a manual. It's got lots of guides. It's got lots of instructions within it. It's like you finally worked out what you need to do to get it right. You know, I genuinely get the feeling that some of you have had a few false starts over the last couple of years or couple of months with whatever this is. And it's like finally you've cracked it. You've worked out what the formula for success is. And it might not have been the same as previously. Maybe that's what's like thrown you, is that, you know, your previous training program was like this, or what previously got you clients in a side business was doing this. And it's like this time, actually, it's different. And it takes you a while to work that out. But over the next 3 months, you're going to make that discovery and you're going to really reap the benefits of it. So group 2, I really hope you enjoyed this. It looks like a powerful and empowering 3 months for you. I would love to hear what you're working on and what exactly this is, because it sounds really exciting and I'm really rooting for you. Please do let me know in the comments how this resonated with you. And please like, share and subscribe as well if you enjoyed, because that massively helps out my channel, and would love to have you as part of this community. And yeah, have a lovely rest of your day. Group 2, take care. Have a wonderful 3 months ahead, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi there, Group 3. Welcome to your reading for those of you who chose Diener, the servant. This is going to be your reading. So just based on this card, just to open up your reading, the servant makes me think of acts of service. So doing good for others. You could be volunteering for something over the next 3 months, raising money for charity perhaps. You could be giving your time or advice or energy to a friend. You could be trying to show up more consciously for friends or romantic partners by doing things that show that you care. That's what makes me think of dead Diener. Some of you also might be caring for family members. You might be carers for family members. Okay, let's look at your cards. As I said, they're pre-shuffled. We're also doing your charms and dice as well, like we normally do. And we're using the Inner Child cards as your tarot, because I love this deck. So let's just have a look. So group 3, Alice in Wonderland, which is the Wheel of Fortune, is your first card. And the Earth Child, which is the World, is your second card. So it feels like lots of change, moving on from something perhaps. Commitment, number 3. Lady with a Bosch egg, Ancient Wisdom, 31. Interesting. That's an interesting card. Last quarter moon in Cancer, take a breather. Maybe you've been doing too much for other people. It's time to take care of yourself. Balancing act, number 11. Pachauli, purpose. The cross, number 36, 12th house. There's that sense of changes and endings again, and missing you. Interesting. Okay, so group 3, over the next 3 months, here's what I see happening. I do see change, but in a positive sense. It feels like you're moving away from something that was draining you, something that was no longer just working for you. Some of you might have had to, or might be being like setting boundaries with people. I get the sense from the Diener, the servant card, that you are very kind and very kind of humble, good-natured, quite down-to-earth people. And maybe sometimes people take advantage of that, or maybe you struggle with people-pleasing and struggle to say no. It's a fine line sometimes between what is your own kind of people-pleasing nature and what is people actually taking advantage. So it's possible that maybe you've been doing a lot for people. You could have been offering a lot of free childcare for your friends, perhaps because you work from home, or you work part-time, or you work less hours than them, or whatever. Or you're a stay-at-home parent or something, and so you're able to offer that kind of thing. But it doesn't mean that you should have to. I feel like some of you've gotten trapped in a cycle of doing something, and over these next 3 months you're going to say no. You're walking away. It's like this carousel. You want to get off the ride. You want to stop and get off. That's what I'm seeing, is you want to stop walking this tightrope and just breathe again with your feet on solid ground. I think that some of you are worried about upsetting people or potentially losing relationships because of this. But also, I think what you need to think about is if people's relationship with you or their level of care for you is purely based on how much you do for them, are they people that really should be in your life at all, or certainly with the frequency or intensity that they are currently in your life right now. So that's something just to consider and just to think about. Group 3, see you really taking a break from something. And then this commitment card, we could interpret it as just you stepping back from commitments. Like you want to say, I'm not doing these things anymore. I'm not doing the school run with your children just because I'm going with my own every single day. And I'm not picking them up from school every single day and taking them home with mine just because I'm picking up mine as well. Like, I'm not doing that. Or, I'm not offering you to car share to work with me every day. I don't want to, or whatever it might be. I'm not cooking for you all the time, or doing these household tasks or running errands for you. Like, I'm just not doing it. But I see you actually making commitments to yourself in the next 3 months. So there's the element of like pulling back from something and then using the time and energy that you win back from doing that. You're putting that into something for you, whatever that might be. I think it's going to be different for everyone, obviously, but it's like you might be using that time to sign up for a course, or to put into your hobbies or professional development, or even just to get more sleep. Like I genuinely just see you taking back time that you've been giving perhaps too freely to other people, and those people haven't really been like appreciative or even thankful necessarily. It like, that's the feeling. It's like you wouldn't necessarily mind as much if they were at least thankful, but it feels like people are just really taking you for granted. even asking you to do more than you're already doing, perhaps. And it's just like the straw that broke the camel's back, and you turn around and say no. And with that extra time and energy you have, you're able to do something for you. I'm really interested about the Ancient Wisdom card. I'm wondering if some of you are perhaps breaking cycles generationally. And what I mean by that is like maybe there has been abuse perpetuated throughout generations of your family, and you're distancing yourself from that. You're stepping back from that and finally saying, do you know what, I'm going low contact or no contact with you guys. Or maybe your mother was a people pleaser, and so was your grandma or something, and you're determined that you're going to stand up and say, no, I'm doing things differently. I'm not going to have the same pattern of experiences that they had. I'm going to learn from those mistakes. I'm going to make a different choice for myself. Ancient wisdom could also mean that some of you are engaged in studying some kind of teachings or philosophy or some kind of spiritual topics. I like take a breather. I think that goes without saying, that this fits with your reading, but this could also be an additional message. Some of you might be going on holiday over the next 3 months. Really a significant change though, both the world and the cross, which is the 12th house in astrology. Really, really powerful. I think some of you are actually breaking patterns that have kept repeating throughout previous lives for you as well. Super interesting. Let's check your charms, and we'll do your dice as well. We'll do your charms first, group 3. You have the letter Z. It's the last letter of the alphabet. Could be about that ending again. Z could be a name, could be a place, a word. Z could represent sleeping, the Zs that rise above someone in a cartoon when they're sleeping. Yeah, you're no longer bending over backwards for people. This gymnast charm, group 3, it's enough. Like, you've got the divine timing with the watch here. You've said that's enough now. That's about time that I made those changes. Have messages of love. So you will actually be getting some support or some love or kindness from someone in these next few months. I think that you're just worried that certain other relationships might drop off. Also be aware of attempts to sweet talk you, to try and go back on what you've said. There is someone very immature in this situation. You got the baby boy, someone who might spit their dummy out, metaphorically, if you go back on whatever it is that you've been doing. Stop offering that free service anymore. Could also be something where like there is something you do for money, like you have a business or something that is what you do professionally, and someone keeps wanting freebies because they're your friend. And like, fair enough, you're happy to do it once or twice, but they want this regularly. Like maybe you're a lawyer and you have a friend who's going for a divorce and they keep pestering you for legal advice for free, or they want you to look over some documents for them, or whatever it might be. It's like, yeah, okay, once or twice is fine, but after that, this is just it's not okay anymore. This is also significant for those of you that are dealing with a situation involving children. I know that I gave that as an example about something to do with free childcare or picking up someone's kids from school all the time. And, it turns out they don't come to collect them until after dinner or whatever it is. And it's just getting ridiculous. Used to be 1 day a week, and now it's, 3 days a week or whatever. And they're pestering you to do Thursday as well. It's just like, what have I got myself into? So some of you might be involved in a situation where children are present. You have Scorpio. Some of you could be a Scorpio or dealing with a Scorpio. Ishtar. Okay, beautiful Ishtar or Inanna, sometimes called Astarte as well. Some people also see this symbol as Lilith. So you can sort of take what resonates with you from this beautiful goddess image. But if we take Ishtar, Inanna, Astarte, whatever you want to call her, she is a Mesopotamian goddess who is connected to love and war. She also, in particular, when I sort of see her charm in a reading, it makes me think of like going against what other people would want you to do. Like being non-conforming or literally doing what you want regardless of what other people might say. Because one of Ishtar's famous stories is that she goes to the underworld against the express prohibition of the other deities who say, no, you must not do this. We do not give you permission to do this. And she goes and does it anyway. So it makes me think of, just kind of doing something that you know feels right for you. Even if people have like expressly forbidden you to do it or have, shown their disapproval or kind of said that that's not what they want you to do. It's like you're going against other people's visions for you or other people's expectations of who or what you should be. So very, very powerful, very independent symbolism here. Similar for Lilith really as well. She also has that very independent, going against preset expectations and conditions sort of personality. You have the feminine showing up here. So that could be you, could be someone else in this situation, just showing that the feminine has purpose or finds purpose because it's landing on this card. Actually, you've got two female symbols, two images of the feminine. And this is interesting as well because it's a little girl. So you have both the baby boy and the little girl. So children are featuring in this for a lot of you because also there was the Earth child and obviously Alice is a child as well. But this is also symbolic that there's maybe two women in this situation. Take what resonates. But yeah, interesting about the children message. You seem to be putting someone on a pedestal. When I see this charm with the little cat in a ring, it makes me think of like idolizing someone or that person being the center of your focus, world, attention. It's like you're really, really worried about upsetting someone in particular because you don't want them to think badly of you. But then it's like, that person seems immature potentially, or that person is making you bend over backwards and agreeing to things that you don't want to do. You've got the Hanged Man. Sacrifice, thinking about things, taking your time to consider your options. Love hanging by a thread. There again is that message of I'm so worried that, this is such a fragile situation relationship-wise that this person's just going to cut me off the moment I go against them. But then again, it's like you're doing the thinking and thinking, wait, but is that then someone who values me? Is that then someone who deserves to have me in their life if they can drop me so easily the moment I say no? And the key. So you are making great progress over the next 3 months. Key is always a positive symbol, indicates sort of progress, opening new doors, new opportunities, unblocking a situation that has become stuck. It can also mean finding the solution to a problem. And you have the Triskelion on that key as well, which is symbol of Manannán mac Lia, one of my patrons. He's a Celtic sea deity, but he's so much more than that. He's not just confined to being a sea god. He's also a god of poetry and humor and all other kinds of things. He's really, really clever and ingenious. So he is showing up for you just like Ishtar is in this reading, or Lilith. You can feel free to reach out to any or all of them if you feel comfortable doing so. They're here to offer their help whenever a deity shows up with their calling card in a reading like that. That's what they are saying. So I can offer you some help in these next 3 months. Let's see what your dice have to say as well, group 3. Okay, so we're going to roll the first set of dice. Those ones are the fantasy dice. Let me just get those. I like these a lot. And we're rolling 8 of them. That is so weird because every single group has gotten 8 dice today. Although you've all gotten completely different sets of dice, you've all ended up getting 8 of them, which is really interesting. 888. Prosperity and abundance. Culminating in your reading, group 3. Okay, what have we got? Yeah, so the lone wolf, feeling lonely, feeling like you want more support from people. There's also this ogre, someone who is unkind, someone who stands in your way, someone who is negative. But you also have the troll, someone who seems at first glance like they're maybe not supportive, or someone that you maybe judge. At first glance, it's kind of like don't judge a book by its cover. Someone who ends up being really kind or a good friend or a great helping hand when you're just expecting them not to be. So it is interesting because you do have like feminine, masculine. So like 3 people represented in this reading. And so then here you've got like someone you wouldn't expect who turns out to be supportive, helpful, a good friend, and then someone who is just like confrontational or angry or aggressive or stands in your way. Have the helmet, going through challenges but being prepared for them. You can do this, you are strong enough, you can push through whatever you're experiencing. Have the jester's hat, making light of a situation, trying to see the humor in difficult times. This also makes me think of the Fool. New starts, new beginnings. The Fool naturally follows on from the World card because this is the ending. The Fool would be the next beginning. So that's really interesting. You have the Mirror, know thyself, reflecting. This fits so nicely with your Hanged Man. Thinking and pondering and sort of I think a lot of you are going to be going over past conversations or past experiences with whoever this person is that you are, having the difficulties with, or who is taking advantage of you. It's like you're really analyzing everything that's happened between them in the past and making realizations or noticing patterns in their behavior and even in your behavior potentially as well. Treasure chest, abundance. This could be financial, so you could be coming in for a bonus, a raise, some kind of financial windfall. You might be getting a new job that pays you more. Maybe this is a situation where work is really undervaluing you, and so you find that new job and the commitment is the contract that you sign. That could be the case for some of you. Especially if you're in a situation at work where you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or even if you're in a caring profession and you just don't feel like you can continue down that path anymore. This can also be other valuable things. So it could be receiving a gift. It could be a valuable realization. Really interesting. And then you have your final dice is the Lyre. So this makes me think of music, singing, sound healing. It's also another deity's calling card though. This is Apollo. Greek god Apollo. He's the god of healing and medicine. He's the god of light. He's a sun deity. He's the god of music and the arts, in the sense of like fine art, like structured art where you have to learn to do things a certain way, as opposed to Dionysius, who would be the god of like unrestrained, frenzied art, the art that really comes from the, I don't know, the pit of your stomach kind of art that you just don't even care about convention. You're just doing what feels right. That self of like primal self-expression. This is more like refined, stylized art. So yeah, group 3, this is your reading. So the big situation is moving on from something, taking a step back from something, being firm, being boundaried, finding what feels right, and then being able to put that into something that is much more beneficial for you, ultimately, is what I see. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's been an honor and a pleasure to do your reading, as always. Do let me know in the comments how this resonated, because I'd love to hear from you. And please do like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this reading. It means an awful lot to me, and I'd love to have you as part of this community. So if you enjoyed this style of reading, then do subscribe for more, or share with a friend who you think would enjoy this as well. Have a lovely rest of your day and a wonderful 3 months ahead, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Take care.